What is up, guys, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of The Scanning Officers. Today, we are here to talk about our first planetary qualifier that we just went to in Sheffield. How is everyone doing after that awesome weekend, guys?
Yeah, we had
Pretty
a
good.
great. Yeah.
Well,
We stayed all together.
it was a good time. I think we're all a bit disappointed, though. I think that's fair to say.
I mean, I'm not, but yeah, we'll get into all that soon. But yeah, so how are you doing, Emmy? How's your time been since Sheffield at the weekend?
Good. Yeah, I was just kind of actually looking at the results, also watching the interview with the winner. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. We'll probably link it
Online
up as
now,
well.
link in the
Also
link in
big
the something.
congrats to Jeff
Just
again for taking the win. It seems like it's the way to win against Boba Green. Um, but yeah, I'm good. Unfortunately, I don't believe I'm gonna be able to go to any other PQ for this competitive season, which is a bit sad, especially after the great weekend that we had. But Chris and Ollie are going to both Cardiff and Edinburgh. So yeah, Ollie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm like Emmy said. I'm going to be going to Cardiff. I'm not actually going to Edinburgh, but
I'm going to Edinburgh.
be,
I'm going to be the head judge of Edinburgh. But yeah, me and Chris is the only one that's committed enough to go to all three.
Yeah,
it's a brutal month. I don't know if I'll do it again.
You will do it.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I was like Chris said, I was a little bit disappointed with my result, but I think I learned a lot from the event in Sheffield and had a great time anyways. And yeah, I'm super excited about this weekend. Chris is actually going to be staying with me, and we're going to be tearing it up in Cardiff with a few other guys that I know from Bristol. So it's going to be a great time.
Exciting. I wish I was there. What about you, Chris?
I'm good, yeah. Like Ollie said, a little bit disappointed with the weekend. Although I'm not disappointed with myself, just disappointed with the result. But we'll come on to that. But yeah, I'm excited for Cardiff. I'm brewing. Okay, on the one hand, I could take Boba Green again, but there's some spice I want to try. We'll see if I cope myself into actually taking it. But yeah, life's good. Star Wars, fun game. But bring on set 3, dude.
Oh yeah,
Josh.
hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to set 3. I have no more competitive play, sadly, this set, but I'm pretty much set aside. I mean, there's more cards to be released this week, so we will be getting onto that, guys, once all the new cards are released. But I'm pretty set on how I'm going to adjust my Cunning Han deck for the next set, and I think it's going to be really fun. But I'm also looking forward to trying some Sith stuff, some dark side stuff in the next set. Which I haven't really been doing since I started playing. So, gonna get some use out of that overwhelming barrage finally. So yeah, bring on set 3. But no, obviously I've got the head judging of the PQ in Edinburgh coming up, which I am really excited about. And I get to see some family because they're all from Scotland. So very, very fun. But yeah, let's get into it, guys. Today we are going to talk about our first PQ, like we said. We're going to talk about results. We're going to talk about results of PQs all over the world. We're going to talk about who's winning, who's losing. Well, not really who's losing, but who's winning. And yeah, we're gonna get into it right away. So let's transition like we do.
Here we go. Beautiful results screen. Before we crack into this, I just want to say thank you, everyone. 700 subs, mad. I think we were at 500 like 2-3 weeks ago, so it's pretty mental.
Like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you like our content,
like and subscribe. And FFG notice us, please. So let's talk about results. I think this weekend. So okay, coming off of last weekend, I don't know if you guys are active online and saw the sentiment, but everyone was saying Boba Green is broken, Boba's broken, ban Boba, meh 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 meh. Let's take a look and see what the results were this weekend. So obviously Josh has got them up there. So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 PQs this weekend. So double the amount of last weekend. And we can see that Boba won a grand total of 7 of them. But of those, it was 3 different variants of Boba that won. 4, I guess, technically. And outside of Boba, there was a pretty solid variety of leaders at the top. I think it was 4 or 5 different ones. So I think there is a lot of diversity, even if it somewhat doesn't feel like it when you see like, oh, it's Boba again. Like, yeah, but Boba Blue is nothing like Boba Yellow, which is nothing like Boba Green ECL, which is actually not that similar to Boba Green 30. So anyway, maybe that's cope, but if you play the game on a competitive level, your strategy into these decks is vastly different. So anyway, let's talk about the results. So actually, Josh, what may be better is if we go over to the spreadsheet and we can just see all the top 8s in front of us. So there's a lot of these. I've taken the results, and again, as usual, shout outs to SWU Competitive Hub. I'm going to do that every week. It's goat.
Totally ripped.
Well, every week we talk about the PQ results. I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 more weeks.
It's this weekend's results, right? That you want to be looking at, the 12th to the 13th.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. They've just revealed the last double green card, by the way, as we're recording this.
Oh wow! Okay, get that sent to me, and we'll put that at the end of the video and talk
it's a
about
legendary. Oh, this is awful! What the hell?
Oh goodness! All right, save it for the end of the video.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this might be crazy. Okay.
Save it for the end of the video.
We'll send it to John. He'll put it up at the end of the video so you can get the live reaction.
Yeah, I'll get a live reaction. Yeah, I won't look at it.
Anyway, so if we look here, okay, at the week 2 results, we have a look at what was topping. I mean, we can see all these, like, Josh has got them all up on screen. Cool. Gobbledygook. Your eyes can't process all of this. Let's go over to a pie chart, which is going to show everything. So the SOG charts tab. And if we go down to the bottom, we can see there we got SOG PQ's week 2 top 8s. I'm sorry about the colors. They are not accurate. Leave me alone. Thank you. So let's look at the big fat pie slices, because I think this is going to be indicative of what the meta really looks like. Boba Yellow, 17% of top 8s. Boba Green, a further 17% of top 8s. So Boba Green and Boba Yellow are now occupying a ridiculous portion of the format, right? Like, I mean, this is, you add in Boba ECL, and we're talking about a third of decks are Boba Yellow or Boba Green, which is crazy. We add in Sabine ECL, which we can see has had a little bit of a drop off here at only 11% of top 8s. But we're coming up to 50, right? We're really coming up on it. And you add in Sabine Yellow, and like the straggling kind of like Bobas, right? Boba Tarkintown, which saw a pretty cool resurgence this weekend. Lots of top results there, and we're well over 50%, which is obviously a little bit crazy. This is a huge proportion of Boba. The format is firmly in this mid-range area. And we can also see the Han 1 yellows, the Han 1 greens, the Bosk ECLs, the Rays, all of these like decks that operate in the more mid to sort of late game are just occupying a vast portion of the format. Obviously Boba Yellow is an aggro deck, but it's an aggro deck that is generally quite well positioned into these decks because of the kind of the way because of the tools it has, right? It's got units that just rip cards out of hand, so you're able to deal with these like control tools and control threats. But if we look over to the winners, I think this.
1 second, Krish.
Yeah.
Like, before we jump to the winners, I think like the key part in this is like something that we talked about last week as well. It's kind of like the red flag on the fact that it's the leader, right? You said it's different decks.
Yes, no,
Leader
100%.
is a problem because you're playing a leader to play mid range, to play aggro, which
play
is
control.
the Boba Tarkintown. Boba Tarkintown is aggro, full stop.
Yeah. And Boba Yellow as
Boba
well.
Yellow is aggro leaning, and Boba Blue is what, like mid range still.
It's hard control. Yeah, it's
so-
like very late mid range to hard control. You're playing stuff like Avenger.
All those topping decks are kind of covering every axis of playstyle right now.
But this is the thing, and I think like Boba as a leader, the problem is like it's weird because the format, the leader is unequivocally like pushed. Like no one, I think there's you. I'm not like, yes, obviously it's pushed, but the deck archetypes don't really change. I don't know that the gameplay is that different.
Instead of Boba, that's the thing.
Well, this is the thing. Yeah, this is the question.
Too many advantages, right? And it's not a matter of like Sabine is doing very well because
Sabine
it's
is the other leader that you're like,
efficient
okay, this is extremely
aggro
strong.
deck, but
But
you can
it's a bad
hide
meta call at the
there.
moment. It's a bad meta call because a third of the format cooks your deck, right? Like
Yeah.
Boba Yellow abuses Sabine, Boba Green abuses Sabine. You're just like, okay, so 1/3 of the decks in the room, I can't even top at that point, right? Like, so there's no, yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. Like, this absolute dominance of Boba is definitely like, I mean, I don't think it's the stat line. I really think it's the untap. I think it's like that's
It
what
is.
it's
I think
the
it's a,
untap.
yeah, I think it's a combination of two. Like the untap makes the leader so flexible. The early deploy and the great stats means it can be an aggressive leader, or it can contest aggro if you're a mid-range or control deck.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be just as oppressive if it was a 5-3-7. I think it would be just as oppressive if it was a 5-4-6. But I think either of those would be better than it'd be right now as a 5-4-7.
The extra life is so annoying. Like my last round was against a Boba Yellow space,
Yeah.
and so I was well equipped for space. Didn't find it, but like I tried to pivot to space, and then they deploy Boba, and then you're like, oh, if they put an armor there, I'm dead regardless. I need to deal with space because they go all space, and I need to deal with ground because there's like 6 damage coming that I can't stop.
Yeah.
You have to deal
and
that 7
that's
damage
very
in that
strong.
in one action before they can put armor on.
Yeah. I
It's
think
a big ask.
armor becoming meta has, because earlier in the format everyone was like, oh, armor's kind of cope, it's not like, we don't really need this card. And like I think now that people have been playing it, they're like, wait, this is ridiculous. This card is absolutely, like, that should be a 4-cost card, right? Like unironically it should just be a 4-cost card. But anyway, looking at the winning results do paint a much nicer picture. Not well, nicer than last week, that's for sure. Boba Green is 36% of the wins. Boba Yellow is 18%. Ray Tarkintown 9%. Bosk Blue 9%. Sabine ECL 9%. Boba Blue 9%. And Boba ECL 9%. So we can see pretty much the entire Boba color pie, besides red represented in at least a win. And then we got Sabine. So like you see Ray and Bosk just kind of wedged in the corner here in terms of like their wins, and then everything else is the decks that we knew were crazy going into the format. And I think, yeah, I don't know, like the leaders are extremely strong. They're like extremely pushed, but I think also the support that those decks got is just so far and away ahead of anything
A
else.
single combination of Boba won.
Yeah.
At least one.
Oh, exactly. Like, I mean, I think the other thing that Boba has, obviously, it's Fire Spray. No other deck has a Fire Spray.
Wasn't there
right?
a winner with Boba Tarkintown?
There wasn't a winner. He got top 4.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a good list, and I might end up taking it myself this weekend. But yeah, I mean, so looking at these results, what does this tell us? I think about moving forward into this weekend. I think we can all attest from our personal experiences in the room at the Sheffield Planetary. There was like no fucking Sabine to be found. I don't know where it was. Sent out
I thought
missing.
I was dodging them, but
I
and it
thought,
was
dude,
one, right? 116.
I think between the 4 of us, we played maybe 2 Sabines.
Hmm.
Maybe I played 0. Emmy played 0.
I played one.
I played one. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was 2, right? And 2 out of 28 matches is a little bit nuts. Like, I mean, and all of us were in the, all of us eventually were in the soup of the X1s and X2s where like Sabines tend to be. So it wasn't like we were where they should have been. It wasn't like, oh, we've submarined up and we were below them, or we've just stayed really high where they like weren't present. So definitely really weird. And the problem is, I don't think we're yet at a homogeneity of tops of Bobas where like control is just a like the obvious way you have to go for most people in the room, where Sabine can finally come back in and just start like doing her thing kind of uninterrupted. Because like fundamentally, if you go into a PQ right now, you're sitting there going, well, I am going to play against Boba Green and I am going to play against Boba Yellow. And Sabine can't play into that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe people are scared of running Sabine into Boba at the moment, and I'm sure it must be frustrating being a Sabine player and everyone pretty much hard countering you for their practice. Like everyone needs to be ready for that deck. So maybe it just wasn't the meta call. the fact that a lot of people will potentially playing control in order to try and stay on top of the Boba decks might also be a factor that limited the amount of Sabine players. But I mean, I will be honest, I did see quite a lot of Sabine players around me when I was playing, especially early on, because I mean, we'll get to it with our results, but I lost my first 2 games of the day. And yeah, I saw a lot of aggro around me in
I
those
think
in those early
what it
games.
is that a lot of people at least tech for Sabine. So if you're a Sabine player, even though it's an aggro deck, we talked about it. It's not as linear as you would expect from a typical aggro deck.
Oh, it's not linear at all. It's
Doesn't
super hard.
care about what your opponent does and just go face. I think like Boba Red maybe can do that because just
Yeah, but Boba Red is absolutely the
right.
I'm
But
going to kill you.
Sabine, like you need to have a good plan. I have good lines. The Boba matchup is so hard, so I think like maybe a lot of like top players were like, you know what? If I have to, grind my matchup anyway, I'll just play the Boba. So maybe that's what happened. Notoriously, I think in the UK and Europe, we like more control decks and mid-range decks, I think. So maybe that's a factor. Um,
And
but
there's some interesting new tech that's also been emerging. So I'm the most Boba pilled of the group in the sense that I'm dialed in. It's clearly the optimal leader to be playing, whatever deck you go with. Like clearly you want to be on Boba. So I've been like experimenting a lot this week with the different options, and there is some interesting new tech that has emerged into like giving yourself an edge in those mirrors because, and I say mirrors in the sense that the Boba matchup, because you are going to be playing it. So like two of the really interesting ones I've seen, a lot of pirate. Well, so one tech I've seen in a lot of the Boba Yellow decks is Pirated Starfighter in at 3, to hard counter these like Bosk decks that are gonna like top target you, or like bounty you with the client. So you just go, okay, nice bounty, back in hand, and now I also have a 3/4, like pretty hefty ship in space that I only had to pay 2 for, which has been a very very powerful I think tech in swinging the control matchups because now it's like, okay, I mean, yeah, you can remove my board. I was never worried about you removing my board. I'm worried about you healing throughout your ass. That's like my issue because I can kill you through like you removing my board 1 card a turn. And then the other thing I've been seeing in these green decks, which I am a massive fan of, is Kintan Intimidator, the 1-drop 1/4 for yellow in this new set, which just says on attack exhaust the enemy defender. And this is basically just being used as a 2-piece thing. One, it's underworld traded, so it sits there and it's McClunky fodder. Two, into any of these aggro decks, you can just throw it into something and it's going to tap it down, right? And most importantly, in the mirror, it just sits there menacingly, right? It's like, go on, deploy your leader. I will exhaust it. I don't care if it dies. Your leader just got tapped down, and I am winning this flip turn because I didn't even have to pay any resources for that this turn. So I think that has been a really interesting tech. That I don't know how much more we're going to see of it. Like if more Boba players are going to start playing it in, I'm a massive fan of it. I'm on it. But that's like doing a lot to swing the mirror. So it's interesting to see like players just trying to find all these little minuscule edges because frankly the mirror is not fun. It's not good. Like it's like, okay, do you have armor? Fine. How about ramp? Check 1. Do you have ramp? Check 2. Do you have armor? Check 3. Did you COB? And then like from there it's like pray you see your top end, which is like not the most fun.
Do you guys think it's potentially damaging to the game if they don't do something about it? I mean, I'm not really in any corner with should they ban it, should they adjust it or anything. But do you think it's going to affect the amount of people that enjoy and want to play the game if Boba keeps running riot like it is?
I think so. I mean, I've seen under other creators' videos, um, Thor, I think so. Shout out to Thor. I think he is addressing the boat problem quite a lot, and there's a few people commenting. I believe it was under his video saying, I held my set 3 until they actually say something about Boba." Like 2 people said that, and obviously maybe that's a exaggeration and it's a small sample, but I think this sentiment is quite strong in like um, TCG players that put time and invest time and resources to prepare for events, and and then they kind of like find themselves, okay, this is just too oppressive, I'm not having fun. And with the cards being revealed of set 3, I feel like many think, okay, there's nothing that screams this is gonna kill Boba, right? Because there's no
I think
like,
that's changed today. I think that has absolutely changed today.
yeah, I agree. Like, I don't think there's. I think Thork as well said like we need some time in set 3 to see if we find like players find ways to change the meta. So I'm completely agreeing on that, and I think Josh is
No,
kind of.
no, but as in, well, I don't know if you guys saw like today they revealed Asajj, who I don't know if you saw this. I'll quickly, if you
Yeah,
did.
go for it.
Well, so Asajj is basically she's a yellow black leader, deploys on 4, 3/4. But her ability on attack is if you've used an event, if you've cast an event this turn, this gains +1 attack and it deals its damage first, which means Asajj plus surprise strike one shots Boba leader, and Asajj plus like any event like shoot first or whatever one shot Sabine. She comes out on the same turn as Sabine as well. So I think that's a massive deal because now what they've just done is they've gone, okay, this leader hard counters like those other 2 leaders existing. Like you just have to build your deck for it, and like now they're in fear. I think as well, like looking at a lot of the card design we've seen coming out of set 3, like I mean 2 leaders that spring to mind are Yoda and Dooku, where I read those and I go, these are going to be massively like game warping. The whole way, like Boba can't really take advantage of exploit. I think it's going to be a mechanic
I
that
definitely like the new reveal today. Like if you say you use resupply on turn 2, and then you can just flip
yeah,
her and kill whatever they've played, which if it's got 4 or less for free.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
seems
And
very strong.
I think Asajj is going to be extremely powerful. I wouldn't be shocked if she saw more play than Boba. I genuinely am like, she doesn't have a fire spray. That's I think the only thing like right now where I'm
But
like,
can she kill before that even happens? Like, you know what
I
I
don't even
mean?
think she doesn't need to though. This is the thing. Like I look at that leader and I go, this is Boba level versatile. Like you can play the aggro game if you want. You can play her as a hard control leader. Like she stabilizes your early game against aggro, and then she sits there every single turn. You cast one of your removal events, you buff your unit by 1, and you swing with it. It just deals all this extra damage. Anyway, I'm yapping about set 3. I think like
Excited.
I'm excited for it, but I think largely just on the discussion of like, is there a problem? I think like for us competitive players who are very, very like dialed in, and we see all these results, like, and we sit there and we go, oh my god, Boba's like a serious problem. My question is not, is the leader a problem? My question is, how many different decks are topping? And when we're not in a tier 0 meta, but certainly we're in a tier 0 leader meta. Like clearly Boba and Sabine are like so far above everything else, it's like a joke. But in terms of actual like decks, there's like evidently 4 really good ones. Like, and so I don't think we can say we're in a tier 0 meta. And I also think if you go like if you look at kitchen table Star Wars or like local Star Wars, the edge that Boba gives you is like a minor percentage edge that makes it optimal to play at these like big 128 person tournaments. But like, yeah, obviously that's optimal, but I don't think that's what everyone cares about. And like, I think you can see, like, for example, Boba Red, that's very similar to Kylo Yellow, and Kylo Yellow is way more fun. Like, everyone's like, oh, this is fucking cool. I get to be my, like, guy who, like, discards cards and buffs my units, and I swing, and I kill you on, like, turn 3. So I think, I don't know, I think, like, in terms of casual gaming, I think we're fine. But I agree, in terms of competitive format, if set 3 doesn't do something to significantly shift, like, the meta, like, percentage share of all these decks, I will be concerned. I think Asajj is the answer. I really do think Asajj is going to be hugely game warping. But anyway,
We'll see if
let's
it's cope or
no,
not.
Asajj is nuts. Asajj is nuts. Anyway, let's go to the results for us. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, let's have a look, because indeed this was our first PQ.
Why don't we have why don't we Ollie hasn't said anything in ages. Ollie, why don't you
Yeah.
I'll kick things off with my own result. So I
no
played.
particular reason.
Yeah, of course. We're going from like top down, obviously. So
Yeah.
I played Hondo Blue, and overall I felt pretty happy with the result. well, I guess not with the result. I guess with my performance, I feel like I played the day really well. I feel like the deck functioned really well. Ended up going 4-3, as you can see on the screen, and the 3 losses were, the first one was to a Sabine, which I wasn't too upset with because I know that's a bad matchup going into the tournament, and I didn't expect too many Sabines because of the amount of Boba. So it's just, if I pair one, I'll probably pair one Sabine throughout the day. I'll take the loss and move on. Then the second loss was to one of my locals, and actually the guy who drove me up there. Really unfortunate that we paired. He was playing Han Blue. And I think
Olmo.
shout out to Olmo, yeah, big shout out to Olmo.
My goat.
And he also ended up staying with us actually in the end. I feel like that matchup was pretty unlucky on my part. I just didn't draw removal spells for his Crate Dragons for like 3 turns in a row. And yeah, there was not much I could do there. So that was an unfortunate one. And then my third loss was to another Han Blue. We were 1-1. This was on the last round as well. We were 1-1, and the game just went to time because both games previously had taken a real long time. In hindsight, I do think there was ways that I could have won game 2 there. But yeah, overall, like, I'm pretty happy with the results, or well, with my performance. Not happy with the result so much, but I think that was just more to unfortunate pairings. I didn't pair any Boba, which is what I was looking to counter, and there was an overwhelming majority of Boba at the event.
A
So
huge amount of
I
Boba.
was insanely surprised that I didn't pair any throughout the day. But yeah, maybe the main takeaway is to revise the Han Blue matchup. But I feel honestly pretty confident with the deck going into next week with Cardiff, despite the not ideal showing last week.
No,
And
but
you
it's
were
a
not
good
the
showing. I mean,
only.
you went positive.
Yeah,
I mean,
you were
yeah.
not the only Hondo on the blue. I was so surprised. I think yeah, going positive is definitely like the goal first and foremost. I think last week I said I want to end up in top 32, which I did. But to be fair, I feel like Ollie as well. Like a bit disappointed with the result. I started round 1 against Tom. It's a friend of the channel. I was on Cad Red.
Shout out
And
to
literally,
Tom
yeah,
He
shout out
actually
to
made
Tom.
9th place as well.
Yeah, he finished
Brutal.
9th.
with Cad Red.
Did super well, so it really boosted my tiebreaker as well. And yeah, Cad Red, and the first round we ended up in time pretty much, but he had the final kill. And we were both like so tense, and we looked at each other. It was like, this was round 1. We have 6 more to go. Holy. And then round 2, I won against a Ray Tarkin Town. There was so many Tarkin Towns. At least like I found like 2 or 3. No, I faced 2, but I've seen so many around me. So second round I won against Ray Tarkin Town. Third round against Dave, I believe, on Boba Yellow. He topped a bunch of events. Really good player. Really fought the game. First game he won. Second game I won because I started in a Kylo who one shots with ACL the Boba. So that's one way to deal with Boba. And we finished 1-1 at time. Fix the damn end of game procedure.
Oh my god, it's
I
awful.
cannot play a competitive tournament where
They're gonna
I
get any
can establish a winner. It's so bad. We had to look at each other and with a judge next to us, and we were like, so we both lose, and it's like, yeah, you both lose unless some of you just concedes. We looked at each other. I looked at my opponent's trash. I had 3 units on board, and honestly, I think I could get the game, but I felt I had more damage on base, and I think he played better. So I legit just scooped and I gave him the win. And I also had
That's exactly how I did with my last game as well.
yeah, I was also confident, that he's a great player. I was like, he's gonna give me good tiebreaker. I win my next games, and that's what happened. I won 3 games in a row. I won against a Bosk ECL, a Hondo, and another Bosk ECL. Shout out to all my opponents. Great people throughout the day. And then last round, I was 4-2 x2. queued into a Boba yellow, won the first game. It was a Boba space. Cameron, I think, from London as well. So shout out to Cameron. Really good sport. And I was maining in my boss KCL. We'll put the link to the deck list below. I was maining 3 List Raider, 3 Punishing One, 2 Black Star, Black Sun. And I was like, I'm good. First game I won. Second and third game, literally just nothing. And Lurk TIE Phantom into the other spaceship that gives +2/+2. Triple Dark Raid. And I was like, okay, sure. Playing a 25 HP base is just
It's brutal
so
into those
bad
decks.
at
Glass
times.
cannon.
Yeah. So ended up 4-3. Had a great time. Shout out to everyone at the event. But getting into better results, our Josh pulled a miracle on the day.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to put it.
Yeah,
So I did the classic, what I did last time at Salford as well. I lost my first 2 games of the day. Sadly, the first game I lost was to Sabine, and it was actually the same guy that beat Ollie, incidentally. And he just happened to be one of Joshua's testing partners, who incidentally made the deck I play pretty much. So he'd had good practice into my deck. I took the first game, but he edged out the next 2 games, and it was pretty tough really. And then the next game, I played a Kylo player that was, I would say, pretty new to the game. Unless he was lying to me to make me feel more relaxed. But I'm never relaxed against Kylo Space Aggro anyway. But yeah, unfortunately, he just mowed straight through me. He played in 2 games. He played 5 lurking ties on me, and Cunning can only do so much, guys. If they keep getting slammed. And yeah, on the second match, he actually had me down to 10 life remaining at the end of turn 3. So pretty rough times. Pretty rough times. But yep, I wasn't going to give up there. I feel very motivated when I lose my first 2. The same thing happened to me at Salford. I won 5 in a row, and I did it again. I managed to win 5 in a row to get myself into the top 32 at the end of the day. I'll quickly run through my matchups. So my third matchup was against Kylo again. It was a strange Kylo blue build this time. It was actually a guy who was in Kylo cosplay. So shout out to your dedication to playing in a big old cape. The next match after that was a Palpatine yellow. It was actually a really funny match. First game, he stole my tech, and I just had no answer to get it away. And we went for 40 minutes. I swear, 40-minute game, and he beat me by teching out a Devastator, which was really rough. But then I proceeded to beat him 2 games in a row in under 10 minutes both games to take the win 2-1. He was a bit shell-shocked, to be honest. I think he thought he had it in the bag. And then DJ came knocking. And that flip turn's so devastating as well if they're not expecting it. And yeah, just the DJ thing happened on curve 2 games in a row, so that was brilliant. Next game again, Palp again. Palp is probably one of my best matchups. This was double green Palp. This guy was actually doing an Endless Legions build, so shout out to him. But he was so annoyed, so he was ramping like crazy, got up like pretty close. But when he was around 10, 11, I just kept DJing him, and he just could not get there. And he said it was very, very frustrating. He ended up, the match ended 2-0, but it ended with him playing a Crate Dragon. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. You're playing a Crate Dragon. And then I was like, I'm toast here. But he decided to clear my board with an overwhelming barrage. And then, unfortunately for him, I have free change of heart in my deck. So I whipped that bad boy away and finished him off pretty cleanly. He was not overly pleased, but he said DJ was just the most toxic thing when he was trying to hit Legions, and he was like a turn away 4 turns in a row at one point. So Very, very fun. And then moving on, I carried on playing Control. I think the next match was against Vader. Sort of Vader build, Vader command. Your typical Vader command build, really. Ramping up, trying to get into those big guys. Han just did Han things. Very tough opponent. I think he was from abroad as well. I think he was from Poland. I could be wrong. But by the name, I think he was from Poland. So yeah, that was 4 wins. And then my final matchup was I got up to, I think, table 15 or something, all the way from the bottom table. And it was against a Bosk ECL player. And fortunately, I had had some runnings with Emmy just before the tournament. And that helped me seal the deal at the end. So 5-2, can't complain. Just never give up, guys. It's always worth getting the practice in and proving to yourself that, you know, you can get unlucky in your matchups, and you shouldn't worry about getting bodied by aggro sometimes. You know, you can't practice for that all the time. But yeah, Krish, what about you? You were on the flavor of the month.
Yeah, well, flavor of the game, really.
You were you were the chosen one.
I had a really good start to the day, and then we had a game that went to time, and things started going downhill. So round 1, I was against Boba Yellow. I won that 2-1. Round 2, I was against Boba Yellow. I won that 2-1. Round 3, I was against Palt Blue. I won that 2-1. Round 4, I was against Boba Yellow. I won that 2-1.
No rest for the wicked.
At this point, I'm like, I need a bloody break. I was also deck checked round 1 before we started the game. So I was sitting there for 15 minutes while everyone else is playing before we're allowed to start. So like the whole tournament has gotten delayed because they decided to deck check us round 1. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, great. This long matchup is now going to get even longer. So I'm 4-0 going into round 5, and I go up against Han 2 Blue, and really, really great player, really lovely guy. And we're 1-1 with 6 minutes left on the clock. So this game is clearly not like going to get finished. And I think I was advantaged, but what am I meant to do? So we're not allowed to roll for it, but I am allowed to roll a die. And if this is a 1, 2, or 3, I scoop, that's totally fine. Now, I can't ask my opponent to reciprocate on a 4, 5, or 6. But if they choose to do that, then that's on them. So I asked the judge this, and he's like, I can't, that you're allowed to do. I can't stop you from doing that. So I look at my opponent, and my opponent looks at me, and he picks up his die, and he goes, odds or evens. I say evens. He rolls it. It's an odd. And I say, I concede. Good game. Good luck with your next matches. And it felt like shit, right? Because it's like, okay, well, I lost the 50-50. I really think I was advantaged in game 3. Like post side, it feels so much better. I mean, it already feels quite advantaged game 1. He played 3 Lukes on me in game 1, so it's like, okay, what can you do?
Maybe we need to do like a episode or some kind of thing, just discussing end of time procedures and how we can fix it.
It's really bad. It's really bad. Just make draws. That's literally all it needs to be. Just implement draws. But anyway, and extend game time by like 10 more minutes. But anyway, so that sucked a bit. And then the next game, it was against the Boba Green Mirror, and this was awful because I didn't see a single no good to me dead. I missed ramp in 2 games. So it was just like a bad game. I was like, okay, I mean, like my deck has just not functioned. And my opponent's deck very much did function in 2 of the games. So it's like, okay, it is what it is. And like, yeah, I was okay with, because sometimes you just lose like the 50-50. But coming off of me like having a time loss was kind of dog shit. And then there was the final round, which was against Boss Blue. Shout out Simon, who's a lovely guy, local of mine. And we're sitting there having this amazing set. And then we're like deep into game 3, and time's called, and the judge is sitting with the last pair playing, and the judge is sitting there, and I turn to him and like, so what are the time rules here? And he's like, it'll be a double loss unless one of you scoops. And we kind of just stare at each other, and we start looking at what we've been through in trash. We start looking at each other's fields. We then accidentally drop our hands on the table and each get a warning.
Because it was so painful to watch. I was there. And
we were both just there like, I mean, how are we meant to decide this? Now, in hindsight, what we should have done was just seen which one of us was higher placed, because we were both going to be X2. Like, whoever won was going to be X2. So you should have just seen whoever has the higher seed might make top 8. And that person, and the person who wasn't that person, should have scooped. Now, it just so happened that I was higher seeded. So the result wouldn't have been the same under that. But equally, like if there was no chance of me top eighting, like who cares, right? Like I would have scooped. As it was, Simon ended up looking at the cards from the top of his deck, and the judge was like, "Okay, you either need to concede now or just
Yeah,
grab
it
in the
was
game. Also, you
getting
tell me."
out of hand.
And he was like, "Okay, I concede then." It was like it was just such a goofy, stupid situation, and it was just like it doesn't need to happen. So like I appreciate I'm playing a longer deck, but no one watching me in any of my rounds could have accused me of slow play, or could have accused my opponent of slow play, because we were playing as fast as we bloody could. Anyway, that's my rant over on this. I'm happy with my performance. I don't think I could have played any better. I just wish I'd had slightly better luck in the mirror, and hadn't gone to time. I guess I don't know. It is what it is. Had a good time. I'm looking forward to this weekend. And now, with those results out the way, looking forward onto the next weekend, we're going to cut to a new segment called "What's on Our Radar." Emmy, do you want to explain this new segment?
Yes, well, it's on theme, right? Since we're the scanning officers, what's on the radar? Just to give you a bit of heads up on what's coming to the channel, what are we up to? Obviously, this week we posted the interview with Jeff, the winner of the PQ.
Thank you very much
Big
for the
Day.
interview, by the way, Jeff. It was his
Thank you,
first
Jeff.
time doing an interview or anything like that, but he did a great job. So
Yeah,
hope to have
so
you
go
back on the
and
channel
check
soon.
it out. Fantastic. Yeah, well done, Josh, on the interview as well. And then obviously this weekly pod, and look out for an upcoming testing 2 tournament. That might be a one-off, that might be a new series, but we're building a video to show you guys how you go from a first version of a deck that you want to play to a final version ready for tournament. That's going to be myself and Krish sharing a bit of insights on how do we pick the cards that we ultimately put in the version that we play in the tournament. One funny anecdote that I will share here and not in that video, and maybe you can comment in that video, calling me out, is that I made my list, and then the day before I kept everyone awake to make sure I figure out how to go down from 51 to 50 to make Ollie happy, and then change this side.
Who cares what Ollie wants? This guy's washed.
But
Out of all of us.
Also, don't
I
forget that we do have a video vlog coming on the channel.
and the video, yeah,
There's
exactly.
one also on Big O's channel, but this one.
My one was the better vlog.
This is the better
You'll
one.
see if you watch.
This is the better one. If you watch our one, you'll realize that his one's just
Comment down below to let us know which one's better.
Yeah, I mean, neither are out yet, probably, but it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
So bad.
But no, it was great fun. Great fun.
You'll get to see Emmy live panicking on each of the
Yeah,
decks.
yeah, for sure.
About whether
Our
to include
first,
Palpatines or
vlog.
Walkers or whatever.
Oh,
it was.
what do I do?
Yeah.
And the bad takes from Krish.
What are you talking about?
Play
There's
the
no bad
standard.
takes whatsoever.
Play a card.
Oh goodness, yeah.
Bro, I told you to play top target, and you said I don't think I need that card. What are you talking about?
Well, I didn't. I didn't face any Sabine.
Actually, you're right. No, you're right. You're
All
right.
right. Stop arguing. Come on. Final thoughts for the weekend. Let's have a look at this new card that has just been revealed.
Oh, there it is.
There we
The
go.
Pyric Assault. Free cost 2 aspect command. For this phase, each friendly unit gains, when defeated, deal 2 damage to an enemy unit. Pretty good.
This is a legendary.
It's a legendary. Oh, this
I
is the with the
bro, Green's legendaries this set are not good.
They weren't that good last set either.
Nah, that's
To
true.
clarify, I actually don't. Okay, I think this is a good card in a very, very niche subset. Firstly, if you're not in double green, you're not playing this card. Secondly, if you're not in token generation, you're not playing this card, right? If you are doing those
if
two
you're not
things,
in villainy, you're not playing this.
and
card.
yeah, likely, and if you're not either in Palpatine or in like some sort of exploit-based deck, so i.e. in black, as Emmy said, you're not playing this card. But
Yeah,
if you're
but
doing all of those,
listen, hey, listen. What about if you're playing Count Dooku and you want to play that thing where you have to destroy 4 things to play a ship? And
well, this is the thing. like if you play this right in Count Dooku and you, for example, exploit out Gore for 4, you play a 7/7 ambush Sentinel overwhelm, and you deal 8 damage to board, and you do that for 4 resources.
And you can set that kind of thing up with, is it the invisible hand that spawns in 4 tokens or something?
Yep. So like there are definitely ways to. I think this is a good
I mean, I
card.
think I think it's a sleeper. Like, I don't think it's amazing, but it's
Good
definitely
exactly
going to
in that.
see a bit more play than Endless Legions, probably.
Well, I don't know if all of these cards are going to end up seeing play in the same deck, right? Like you get to this point where you've just stabilized, you've gained a load of resources, and you go, okay, and now I will kill you, Endless Legions. Like, I don't know.
Who
We'll
knows?
see.
Who knows?
Well,
Either way, it's an interesting concept for a card.
definitely.
I like the idea of giving all of your units a effect that can benefit from, you know, technical play. Really, it's
Double Green has a lot of these. Like
Yeah.
you get
They're
this out. There's the
fun.
Krell from set 1. You draw a card for each one as well.
I like that they're
Um,
pushing the design like to
yeah.
this extent where you see it in a silo and you're like, yeah, whatever, maybe that's good. But all these like different mechanics and like flavors will come up in this set, in the next set, in the one next. So yeah, there's so much for, players that enjoy deck building to get back to.
Yeah, I mean, there's alt win cons like milling and coming. Lots of exciting stuff to come. But yeah, we should definitely wrap it up there, I think, on that note. So thank you very much for taking the reins this week, Krish. And yeah, it's been a really great episode. And yeah, thank you all for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content on our road to 1,000. We are at 700 now. So thank you so much, guys. And yeah, leave a like and comment.
Thank you.
Anything else to say, guys, before we jump away?
Good luck with the PQ next weekend, Krish and Ollie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Looking forward to talking about.
Try to do better than last week.
What I want to be reporting on is you guys top tabling, facing off, and that will be our, conversation point.
episode.
And then you end up getting a double loss, and then third and fourth take top. But yeah,
Knowing Krish would definitely go to time.
Ooh, on that note, going to time. We'll see you next week, guys.